Another way to get our head around a scorecard versus a dashboard is to take a look at how they're used in organizations. How do they fit into the management process? Now, if we take a look at the case example that we've been using up to this point, the difference between WestJet and Southwest and, for example, Air Canada, it might look a bit like this, where maybe someone on the ground crew is going to say something along the lines of, you know what, we need to increase our ground crew capacity because of our sales forecast. Whereas someone else, say the foreman, may say something like, you know what, we have to cut costs, and to do that we're going to reduce staff. And they really don't have a way to resolve this argument. If we take a look at their boss, maybe they've got a question like, you know, too many meetings in my life. What meetings am I supposed to go to and which things should I skip? Well, one way to prioritize is to understand what's important to the organization. So I might go to the CEO and she's going to say something along the lines of, well, our strategy is all about driving sales growth. That should help people understand what they should be doing. And the way to do that, we know from best practices, is to build a strategy map that explains those priorities and weights them appropriately. Based on that, VP Operations now understands the sales growth meeting is more important because obviously that objective has a higher weighting, and therefore I'll give a skip to the cost reduction meeting. What does that mean to the foreman, for example? Well, if I can translate the strategy down to a strategy map into a dashboard that explains the more tactical aspects of how we're going to execute that greater sales, maybe the foreman can say something like, well, we need to look for cost-cutting areas in other areas that don't impact our highest sales potential routes. And maybe the lead hand had it right from the beginning. Maybe the question there is, we still need to increase ground crew to match the capacity of our sales forecast. In other words, I can begin resolving some of those questions even at an operational level. If we cascade down from the CEO into other directions, maybe if we take a look, for example, down the finance road, VP Finance is going to say, well, we better flex our budgets to show this new focus on sales. Human resources, maybe they're going to notice that they need to change their commission sale to encourage sales growth as opposed to profitability, as an example. And IT, maybe they need to begin building, better BI tools around that sales growth objective. The net is that strategy map and dashboard begin to align the entire organization against those objectives. If you think about it, what should happen is we should be able to take a look at that dashboard and understand our contribution to that, and in turn, that dashboard's contribution to the overall strategy. Now, that makes sense. If you remember how we came up with a strategy in the dashboard in the first place, it was a cascade. We're taking that strategy map during this module and we're translating it into the dashboards that people use to make those day-to-day operational decisions. And based on the feedback, as we just showed you at the dashboard level, we'll determine whether the strategy is achievable or what parts we need to flex it around the organization's actual capabilities. So that's the strategy top-down, bottom-up story, and where dashboards play a prominent role in making that happen successfully.